The country's two attorneys general have agreed to consider holding talks to try to resolve that country's political crisis.
The men from rival factions made the decision in a live debate on Radio Australia. Bruce Hill is the presenter of the Pacific Beat program and he joins us now. Bruce Hill, good to talk to you again.
Good morning.
Tell us about that discussion on air. It
was quite dramatic. We got Sir Arnold Ahmed, who was the Attorney General for the Sir Michael Somare camp, but also we got Dr Alan Morat, who's the Attorney General for the Peter O'Neill camp. Peter O'Neill's camp have control of Parliament. Sir Michael Somare is backed by the court system. We were talking to Sir Arnold Ahmed. We got hold of Dr Morat, so I asked Sir Arnold Ahmed to stay on the line and see if he could talk to his counterpart. I thought he might actually just spit the dummy and walk, no, he said, that's good, I'll talk to my brother, and we got them both talking, and it became fairly apparent from what Sir Arnold was saying that the basic principle of parliamentary supremacy, that the Prime Ministership should, in the end, be decided by a vote of MPs in Parliament. He accepted that, which I thought, well, this seems interesting, because this is what Sir Michael Somare has been saying, the Supreme Court must rule. So I thought, well, this seems like they might have something in common, and we eventually got a commitment from both of them to meet to try and hammer something out, which, we don't want to over-egg the pudding and say we solved it, we didn't, but they seem genuinely respectful, and so they've agreed to meet, and so we'll follow that up later on today.
That's positive, but this deployment of police we've seen over the last 24 hours is indeed a worrying development.
It is, and also despite what the Police Commissioner said there, it does seem to be fairly clear that the police are split. You have police guarding Peter O'Neill's group and you have police guarding Sir Michael Somare's group. It does seem to be split. There's a lot of concern in PNG about the use of words. Like yesterday it was reported that they'd ordered that the police seize assets, and people got very upset about that. No, take control is much less worse than seize. There's a degree of embarrassment in PNG at this, and they're very sensitive about the overseas media looking at this. Some people are saying this is our internal affair. Why are you playing on this? There's always a lot of sensitivity in PNG about outside people looking in on what's happening inside there. But
before these two men agreed to at least sit and talk as part of the discussion that you had live on air yesterday, what were they planning to do? I mean, what was the game plan here as they were explaining it publicly?
I felt they didn't really have a game plan. It was clear from the way they were talking that they'd both camps have dug themselves into a hole, both of them clinging to important principles. Sir Michael Somare to the rule of law in the Supreme Court, Peter O'Neill to the supremacy of Parliament. And it seemed from the way that they were speaking to each other that they both realised they had to find a way out of this, because there was just no way out of the impasse unless they actually talked.
But do you get a sense that the two Prime Ministers will actually agree to sit down and talk to each other?
That may be more difficult. Both men are clinging to principles, and when you cling to principles, it's very hard to give them up. There's a lot of pressure on them from all sorts of groups, the churches, the trade unions, civil society groups, and that's one of the big things about this story. It's the dog that didn't bark in the night. No one's out on the street, no one's rioting, no one's burning shops. Yep. I think the people in PNG are showing, to some extent, more maturity than some of their leaders are.
And probably bemused about what's going on. Bruce, what do you see as going to be a potential circuit breaker here in the days ahead?
Hopefully the two Attorneys General meeting, but possibly if they're willing to meet, maybe others from the same group are willing to meet. The churches would like to be a mediator. The anti-corruption group Transparency International is trying to be a circuit breaker. There are any number of groups that are trying to be a circuit breaker. There's talk about setting up an eminent persons group. There's a good deal of will within Papua New Guinea to solve this. Whether that filters through to the political leaders, that remains to be seen.
Bruce Hill, good to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.